Hey everyone, Steve Adubato. We kick off the program with State Assemblyman Al Barlas from the 40th Legislative District. Good to see you, Assemblyman.
Thank you, Steve. Happy to be here.
There's a whole bunch of topics I want to talk about, and I also want to make it clear we're taping on the 16th of June. Some of the stuff's going to feel dated, but the issues are just as important. Can we do childcare first?
Sure.
We have there's an initiative called Start Strong NJ, public awareness around the importance of quality, accessible, affordable childcare. How high a priority is that for you as a member of the state legislature?
Well, it's very important. And I'll tell you why. First of all, personally, it's important for me because my kids are 7 and 5, right? So I've gone through the whole daycare, childcare thing. And I will tell you that a lot of times it felt like either myself or my wife were working to pay for childcare just to go to work. And, you know, we're blessed to live in a great town and we're blessed to do fairly well financially, but there are a lot of people who are struggling now. And if your choice is, what do I do with my child during the day, or earning a paycheck to help pay for my child? I mean, those are some Hobbesian choices you have to make.
And which is why a big theme in our programming is the connection between childcare and the economy. Assemblyman, let me follow up on a different issue. You've talked a lot about school funding.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to get into the details of the school funding formula, which is complicated. Check out our interviews with State Senator Vin Gopal, who heads up the Senate Education Committee. From your perspective, what is wrong with the current way the state funds our public schools, and what would you change about it?
So I think, first of all, the fact that we are out of this S2 process, and now we have this arbitrary cap that Governor Murphy put in place last year, which says that no district shall receive no more than a 6% increase and no less than a 3% decrease, still leaves 176 school districts without funding this year, right? They're getting cut to the tune of about $55 million. And when you've got a budget that is $60.7 billion, is up 3% from last year, the fact that we don't have $55 million to at least bring everybody to zero is a problem.
Hold on, but to help everyone understand, when a school district gets cut in state funding, what the potential implications are for the students, teachers, and the school district itself.
Well, you're talking about services, you're talking about programs, you're talking about perhaps teachers' aides, you're talking about teachers themselves. I mean, the potential impact, depending upon the dollar amount, can run the gamut of a little bit to a lot. And when you're a young child and you're a family who lives where they live and wants their kids to receive the best education possible, every little bit of a cut is a big deal.
Speaking of finances, what the heck is Budget Bites with Assemblyman Al Barlas?
So this is just a little video series we did. It just takes and highlights some of the things that are going on in this budget that we think are a problem. Again, you know, you've got a $60.7 billion budget, but yet, you know, Governor Sherrill has proposed cutting $250,000 to the Winona Lippman House for women, you know, for battered women. You're talking about a $1.3 million cut to the Boys and Girls Club for at-youth risk. You're talking about a $325,000 cut to the ALS Foundation, right? You're talking about $455,000 cuts to Tourette syndrome. I mean, these are cuts that, yes, it's a tough budget year, but when you're increasing spending by $1.9 billion, the fact that you can't find a couple of $1 million for these types of causes, which have far greater impact on people's lives than anything else, to me is a problem.
But Assemblyman, when we had the governor, and check out our interview with the governor, she talked about these so-called Christmas tree items. And the Assemblyman knows that as a former state legislator on my end, I served on the Appropriations Committee in the legislature in the mid-'80s. And I remember trying to get items into the state budget that helped the 7 towns in my district. The governor says that we need to cut back dramatically, if not reduce and eliminate these so-called Christmas tree items. What you just described, if I'm not mistaken, those are Christmas tree items.
Well, I would dispute that, because I think, to me, a Christmas tree item is what you talked about, Steve, right? Like, it's money for a little league program in your district, or it's money for a ball field in a town in your district.
Okay.
When you're talking about $250,000 to help a battered women's shelter, or $1.3 million to help at-risk youth, the impact of that money is far wider than just bringing home the bacon to your district so you can get reelected the following year.
But at the same time, I'm not saying it's a Christmas tree item. What I'm saying is, if it's included into the state budget if a state legislator attempts to put an item into the budget and someone says, well, that's a Christmas tree item. That's a gift to your district or a gift to the nonprofit that you support. You're saying each individual appropriation of state dollars needs to be considered separately, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, everything should be weighted on its merits. And what is the impact of that? Do you want money for a infrastructure project that could potentially prevent flooding that impacts 2, 3, 4 communities in your district and thus has a far wider beneficial impact to potentially hundreds or thousands of people versus a ball field, which is a very noble cause. Nobody's denying that. But, you got to sort of weigh has a far greater societal benefit.
Talk about economics. Again, we're taping in the middle of June. World Cup started over at, what do we call it? New Jersey, New York Stadium this week.
Yes.
You are calling for hearings, and you've proposed legislation that creates a 5-member commission of fiscal integrity of future attractions having to do with events like this. Why is that important? Isn't it a positive economic impact? Isn't there a positive economic impact to New Jersey, or we do not know?
We don't know that yet. I mean, when you look at some of these reports of towns and states that host Super Bowls, World Cups, major events like that, a lot of times they end up, Olympics is another one. You look at Atlanta, they spent all this money years ago. An Olympic Village, I think, has been either totally demolished and rebuilt on or sat vacant and empty for, 15, 20 years. So you hear stories about ultimately at the end of the day having a net negative impact financially. So I think it's yet to be determined if we will have a positive financial impact from the World Cup. But my bigger problem was, as this unfolded over the last couple of months, all this FIFA information coming out, the fact that they were going to shut Penn Station for certain hours during the day when there were fare prices were going to be potentially $155 per person, it seemed like a lot of us were not aware of what was going on and what the details were. So the purpose of this bill is that it's a 5-member body. It's the governor, it's the Senate president, the speaker, the minority leader in the Senate, and the minority leader in the Assembly. Those 5 who are briefed by the governor in public about what is being proposed for any major event, like a World Cup, like a Super Bowl, like a Grand Prix, right? So we're not talking about Taylor Swift at MetLife. We're talking about these types of major attractions to see, is there a actual cost benefit to the state and its taxpayers for putting out this money and making this investment?
We'll follow that legislation, see where it goes. State Assemblyman Al Barlas from the 40th Legislative District. Thank you, Assemblyman.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.
You got to stay with us. We'll be right back.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by the Turrell Fund, a foundation serving children, the Burke Foundation, RWJ Barnabas Health. Learn more at rwjbh.org. NJM Insurance Group, IBEW Local 102, the Adubato Center for Media Leadership, United Airlines, Operating Engineers, Local 825, Eastern Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters, and by these public-spirited organizations, individuals, and associations committed to informing New Jersey citizens about the important issues facing the Garden State. Promotional support provided by NJ.com and by New Jersey Globe.
At the Burke Foundation, we know a healthy beginning changes everything. In the first 1,000 days from pregnancy through age 2, the brain builds the foundation for lifelong health and learning. But in New Jersey, too many families face barriers to prenatal care, postpartum support, and quality childcare. We work with partners across the state so every family can access the care, connections, and resources they need. Because when families are supported early, children and communities thrive.